Yes, one of the greatest players of all time and a person that the AFL would love to just hang on to and have him be the focus of football is Michael Voss, and he was on the weekend and he got Carlton up for a win and now he's got COVID and he joins us tonight. Just shows you Superman's got his kryptonite, doesn't it, Vossy? But welcome, mate. I've got to say, even for somebody like me who hates Carlton's guts, I was even barracking for you the other night, mate. Let's roll some videotape of the crowd reaction. This was absolutely sensational. Tell me what it was like for you, mate. You grew up a Carlton supporter. What was it like?
Oh, it was a genuine high. It was an important win for the club, and you try and play it down. But the reality is that round one was going to be an important occasion for us, and just really proud of our club, and proud of the players, the way that they went out there, and the fact the supporters could enjoy that was fantastic. But there's the highs and lows of football, isn't it?
Is it a dream come true to be in charge of Carlton, mate? Is it a dream come true for you?
Oh, it is. It's absolutely it is. 12 years of age, sitting in the lounge room and watching football with Pop, and he was the Carlton fan and so was I, and watching the old classics of Carlton versus Collingwood and Carlton versus Hawthorn, and maybe one day thinking that I'd like to play at that particular club, and obviously never had that chance, but now coaching it, so it's a genuine dream come true.
Michael, there's a lot of things that you do, obviously a second time around coach that you learn and you do better, but was there one thing that in your time with Ken Hinkley at Port Adelaide and then walking in the doors at Carlton, you'd say, this time around I'm going to do this differently to what I did the first time around?
Oh, I think the very first thing was ensuring the right support is there. I heard you talking there before about the job and the size of it, and you can certainly get lost in other things other than what is the core of coaching, and that's being able to spend time with your players and your coaches in the right areas. And so I was pretty determined to be able to get that right support, and Carlton were fantastic in being able to facilitate that. And I guess then the second one for me is then enable people to be able to go to work and trust them and to get their jobs done. So I felt that was really important in my management moving forward as a coach, that we get really skilled people in their positions. We trust them to get their jobs done. We let them go to work.
Moving on to the story of the round, or one of them, Sam Docherty. I know we've talked about it a lot, Michael, but how much did it mean to the players to have him, first of all, back in the team, and then, of course, this moment?
Oh, this was an amazing moment. I texted Doc the next day, and I said to him, mate, this is one of the more special moments I've had in football. To be able to sort of see the players get around him there, that in itself speaks volumes about how high they regard Sam, and they understand they've been through the real challenges with him, support him along the way, and I know that he's appreciated that. And then to see the response from the fans, from the members, supporters, to be able to see them stand on their feet and clap him, it was just a really memorable moment.
Yeah, Michael, so on the practical side, let's get the Walsh in. So how difficult was that decision? So syndesmosis, we know they take time. Agility, was it was an easy decision to make? Do you maybe compensate, put him on a wing, get him out of congestion rather than inside, or you just put him straight back in there and let him rip?
Yeah, no, let him go. I think if we had some contingencies there, or we were unsure about where to play him, I don't think we would go down that space. We're really confident that he's ready to go. As you mentioned, the syndesmosis can react in a whole range of different ways, but he seems to come out of it very well. We've stepped it up gradually. In the end, the ankles let us know how far he can push it, and he's been able to step it up really quickly, and it was never a question of his fitness. He's one of the most fanatical trainers that I've ever seen. So, he'll be ready to go.
So you're breaking new ground, coaching from home, and I know that Ash Hansen will do the coaching, but have you asked the AFL to let you have the behind-the-goals vision during the game, and have they said yes?
Yes, I've got the deluxe version of watching football on Thursday night. I've got 4 camera angles, and I'll have the live codes or the stats coming through, and I'll have a feed into the coach's box. But I think it's also, while that's all going on, and it's great that they've been able to provide that, we're quite clear that the leadership and the decision-making sits in the coach's box. It doesn't sit where I am. I'm very lucky that I've got a group of coaches that have all had coaching experience, have all coached their own team, so they've got experience sitting and leading a coach's box. Ash is very well experienced.
I thought you were going to say they'd all had COVID.
But no, they're all good to go, and they've all had great experience when it comes to leading their own team. So,
is Ash the only one?
As I said earlier, it's important to be able to trust them.
Sorry, Michael, is Ash the only one? Ashley Hansen the only one you will be talking to?
No, I won't speak directly to Ash. I'll be speaking to Aaron Greaves, who's our coaching performance manager. So I'll be chatting to him when I need to. But as I said to you, it's very important that the coaches, they make the decisions. They've got the feel on the game. If I need to have input, I will. But largely it's over them to get the job done.
Michael, let me take you back. How hard, like we all admire your career playing and what you did, how hard was it to take the emotional risk to put yourself on the line to the Blues job again without a guarantee? I mean, it was a brave thing to do, and I think it's a great model for your players. But how hard, how difficult? Share that with us.
Well, in the end, the decision to get involved was a simple one. The harder decision was 8 years earlier, was to decide what to do next. And when I stepped away from it the first time and spent a year in the media, there was a sliding door moment whether I stay where I am or I forge back into coaching. And I just couldn't stay away from the coaching. I love competing. I love the ride of the win and the loss, and that's what brings me back. I love coaching players. So I guess then it was just about being able to accept what had happened, go back and work on some of your shortcomings as a coach, and over 7 years go to work, and I find myself back in the chair.
So, Vossy, it's been in Brisbane, then you've been to Adelaide, and now you come to Melbourne. So talk us through what your experience is like being in the heartland of footy and coaching a big club like Carlton in Melbourne. How have you found it?
No, I found it really good. If anything, I've just sort of slowly weaned myself off the sun and getting myself into the winter. So no, I love the experience. I thought it was really important to get myself away from Brisbane. You know, we moved to Adelaide as a family. We were always going to be there for a period of time. My kids were going through high school at the time, and it was important that we saw that little journey through before we considered anything else. And then I guess I always sort of hoped that eventually I'd end up back in Melbourne. Obviously I have a lot of family here, but this is where the heartland of football is, and this is where I really want to be. And the fact that I'm coaching a really big club is a real bonus. And
of course, you were saved by the appointment to be the coach of the recruit. That's what got you going again, Vossy. Let's not forget that.
Well,
mate.
you got to start somewhere, Eddie.
That was great. Hey, two things. I'll be fascinating to have another chat to you after you finish up at home with this, because I've long been of the opinion, and I asked Neil Baum to sit behind the goals one stage at Collingwood to get a different view. Now we've got the technology, as you said. You've got 4 or 5 different cameras. Where the arc is, where the score review is, it is set up to be able to do that with 17 different feeds. Now, you don't want 17, but you might have a different person in there for games and all that sort of stuff. My last question to you before we go, mate. We've been talking about the Tribunal tonight. Have you got any idea of the rules of the game, or are you like everyone else and no one quite knows what happened after this weekend?
No, there was a couple of strange ones in there that probably warranted a little bit heftier look at it, fine at least. But the interesting one, I probably have a slightly different play on the Rioli and the Robinson one. I saw it exactly as it played out. And a simple thing for me was I thought Rioli had a play on the ball. If you pause it with about 20 centimetres with the ball just about hit Rioli's hand, you'll see that Rioli's still actually making the play at the ball. So in a split second, he's had to adjust. It would be really concerning if he held his line and held his knees moving forward to play through that, what would have happened to Rioli. But on the other side with Robinson, I don't think he had a play on the ball. Dersma had a play on it. I'm with Chris Scott. I guess Robinson, what we're coaching players now is to be able to just step aside a little bit and then just take the tackle. We don't want players finding themselves in that situation and then someone ends up getting themselves hurt.
Good on you, mate. We wish you all the best. You're doing it Another new way. Michael Voss keeps inventing new ways of being part of the big football. But I tell you what, mate, it's wonderful to have you back big time in the game. You're one of the best people that's been around in the last 25 years or so, and it's a pleasure to have you. And thanks for being on our show, mate.
Thanks, Eddie. Thanks, everyone.
Good on you, Vossie. Michael Voss,